Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this likely YouTube shadow band video. I'm going to be talking about the natal chart of, I don't know if I'm saying his name right 100%, Luigi Mangione. He is the primary suspect as of right now in the shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. First off, I would like to offer, my condolences and prayers go out to the family of Brian Thompson. This is a very heinous crime, unnecessary death. We're experiencing so many in the world, United States. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And people, shooting, people for reasons that are just so trivial. And it's really astounding to me that there's a lot of people that are hailing and lauding this this person who likely was the one that did this. I believe it. You can confirm this on the internet that he did that. Luigi Mangione had stated something like that: I'm sorry about the trauma or strife that I've caused. But, it's like he really doesn't have, any compunction or remorse. Assuming if he did, actually do this. And anyway, this thing I'm going to talk about first. Okay, I got his birth date online, May 6, 1998, time unknown, Taurus sun, Virgo moon, possible ascendant, I have a few that come to mind. Maybe, speculating on this, of course, but I think maybe Aries or Gemini could be a possibility. Gemini ascendant, would likely put the sun in the 12th house. The sun is connected with our identity. He has the sun in Taurus, and would and the thing is, in the 12th house of the unseen. So the identity, being hidden, concealed. It's obviously not concealed anymore, but anyway. And also, Aries, Gemini, because of the lengthy features, he's, according to, it was like a booking card he had or something I saw online. I don't know 100% if it's, actual, valid, or, if it's authentic or not. The authenticity can be in question. But the card had it at I think it was 5'10", his height, and 135 pounds. So, Aries and Gemini tend to be lean in build. Taurus rising could be, possibility. And I thought possibly, I was looking at Aries, so a friend of mine on Facebook thought Aries, and I'm looking at, his, he had the profile of picture, the side view, and it looked like he had a prominent Aries, a prominent Adam's apple, which could be, which could be a dead ringer for Aries rising. But anyway, those are just some, possibilities and thoughts on it. I'm going to talk a little bit about his chart and how it may be tied in with the murdersome transits that, took place on, around that, at that time as well, of the shooting on, I believe, December 4th. So, Sun and Taurus, Sun is the basic fundamental character, one, for him, naturally, loyal, steadfast, persistent, but can be very stubborn as well, materialistic. He has that making a conjunction to Mars in his natal chart, so to me that can denote a more, volatile character, makes the fundamental basic character could be a little bit more turbulent and violent than otherwise indicated. Sun in Taurus tends to be really, docile and gentle in terms of, the basic fundamental character goes, but when you have the conjunction to Mars, naturally, his true self can be more, acerbic than otherwise indicated. Now, he's got the moon in Virgo, and, on the unconscious side, which is the moon, can be one which is, punctilious with details, analytical, cerebral, person's very organized, likely clean, neat, scrupulous, methodical. And, having the sun and the moon both in earth signs is that, sign, that combination, both being earth, is one that would actually be, do well in things, sadly, in this case, a premeditated murder. And he also has Mercury conjunct Saturn in Aries in his natal chart. So, Mercury, conjunct Saturn in a natal chart, could be, an aspect where there's a lot of, concentration and thinking, where your thinking can be very premeditative. And being in volatile Aries, you can understand, where there is likely a lot of planning and premeditation, for this violent act. And again, this is if he actually did the crime. He likely did it. I know he's the primary suspect in this murder as of now. And some other things, and I'm just looking here just to, make sure I'm hitting on everything that I thought was important. And another thing in his chart, I noticed that he has some interesting aspect. The sun, and his, I believe his black moon Lilith, in tight in conjunct aspect, with each other. And, that, that being the case, that could be, really, a lot of, extreme, vacillation, with the sun wanting to shine, and then, the black moon Lilith trying to keep things hidden and suppressed, that the black moon Lilith, now, as far as it being, in Libra, I would say, is one where it could be a lot of, like superficial charm, thing where, perhaps nefarious, ways to, to create justice, so to speak, for oneself. And, the thing is, when you have, the inconjunct aspects, again, it's a lot of vacillation, distortion of energy. It could be a lot of going back and forth with wanting to shine, which is the sun, and then having, that, the black moon Lilith, which is more about the hidden, the dark side, keeping things, under, cover, so to speak. And the thing about, another thing in his chart, which I thought was, could be tied in with this, what happened, he's got Mars square Uranus, which can show, really, intermittent, explosive anger, very, sudden, unpredictable, shocking outbursts of anger. And having Mars in Taurus, a lot of that anger can, maybe tied in, maybe persistent, determined provocation, and what maybe he saw as provocation. If he, if he did kill this man, Brian Thompson, it was over, some ideals or some beliefs, regarding, the United Healthcare, what they stood for and didn't stand for, or whatever. I could see, how this, manifested, with him. And, and it's not to say that, most people that have Mars in adverse aspect to Uranus aren't going to go to these extreme measures, so I do understand that. Now, another thing I want to get at in his chart, and he's also has the Sun in Taurus making an opposition, to Chiron and Chiron and Scorpio. It's actually part, what I would consider, some may see as a weak fixed T-square configuration with Uranus and Aquarius at the focal point or midpoint of it. The Sun, making that opposition to Chiron, it shows that, the suffering, which is Chiron he may have endured, may have more of an adverse impact or effect on his life, which is the Sun, more so than most people on average. It's possible, and I don't know this for a fact, of course, but Chiron in Scorpio, can manifest in some suffering, which is more, it can be connected with psychological issues. They may be of a complex nature, maybe matters dealing with crisis or support, or trying to make some major change or transformation in one's life, and it may have been more of an negative or adverse effect on his life. This, which is the Sun in Taurus, a life that one may desire, of peace, tranquility, and stability. Where I'm sure he focused a lot on monetary matters, material possessions, creature comforts. And, Uranus at the midpoint of this, Uranus in Aquarius, The focal point or midpoint of a T-square configuration is that point of overemphasis and overcompensation. And the fact that he had Uranus and Aquarius and at the focal point of this configuration in his natal chart tells me that a lot of this energy, trying to deal with the Sun, opposite Chiron, could have been about making, really doing some kind of reforming, an unusual form of reformation, so to speak, and that it really it may have manifested in this killing, what he was dealing with, and also the Sun, making the opposition to Chiron and Scorpio. Chiron and Scorpio, I believe, can even have suffering and insurance-related matters, so you can kind of do the math with that, and it having more of an effect on his life, the Sun, and the physical being to some degree. Because the Sun has a connection with the physical body. Yes, the ascendant is what dominates the appearance and physical body, but the Sun can have a connection with that as well. And also, too, another thing, getting, something else with his chart, is that he also had, as far as transits go, I think a transit he had that was very telling in this was transit Pluto, at least making a loose conjunction to his natal Neptune. And that's telling because Pluto is connected with crime, corruption, including murder. Neptune is incarceration. So this was something, what happened with him. I mean, he obviously is going to prison. He's in prison, I'm sure, right now, and probably, he's in for likely for this murder. I don't know if he's actually been arrested for that yet, because it seems like he had been actually apprehended for something else just to get him in there. But I think, in all probability, he did commit the murder. And the thing, too, another thing that I noticed, wanted to talk about, is that he did claim that, I believe or at least there was something online, may want to confer this by looking online, but he had some back issues. And I'm thinking what could have happened was with transit Uranus, whenever that hit his Sun in Taurus, that could have been a time where he might have experienced those issues, because Uranus is accidents, and the Sun has a connection with the physical body, but it also rules the spine and the upper back. So I don't know if this was his lower back or not, but likelihood it may have involved the spine and or the upper back, and that's connected with the Sun. So, trying to see if there's anything else I wanted to state on this. Now, I noticed that his Black Moon Lilith in Libra also makes as far as the Synastry with Brian Thompson goes, it makes a conjunction to, at least a loose conjunction to the natal Uranus of, Brian Thompson. And, the thing about this is, if I remember right, Brian Thompson, one of the bullets, hit an area by him where it was at least near the ankle or shin area, and that's connected with Uranus, and the Black Moon Lilith is trauma. So that aspect is like an indicator where the Black Moon Lilith person may cause trauma to the other person, in this case, the Uranus person, and did, cause, there was obviously some injury, to that general area one way or another. And I'm just trying to see if there's anything, else I want to get at as far as, the chart, his chart goes. It just really, again, it's just a shame that something like this had to transpire and take place. And to have, all, this person, Mangione, if I'm saying his name right or right, I could say that again. I don't know if I'm saying his name right or not. Luigi Mangione. to throw, basically, if he did this crime and he committed this murder, to throw your life away. I mean, on something like this, on something, so trivial. And, he apparently had a lot of things going for him. He's been lauded and praised, I believe, for his intelligence. And there's people that are, I've heard some people talking on, some videos I've seen on YouTube saying he's very cerebral, very intellectual. He probably has, very high IQ. He was doing, something with data engineering or something. He accomplished a lot. And he's only 26 years old. And he had so many things going for him. I mean, he had what appeared to be a very promising and auspicious future. But, what it looks like, what he did apparently was throw it all away if he did commit, this crime. I mean, now he's gaining notoriety and recognition for all the wrong reasons. I don't know if he's reveling this or enjoying it or not. Who really knows? I guess it's possible. But, I mean, you really, you want to, throw your life away just because you have animosity towards somebody because they didn't have some philosophy or belief, in some health system or what have you. Another thing about this, too, when you look at something like this, it just kind of gives us a reminder, and if Luigi Mangione actually did this, the thing is, no matter how refined or sophisticated or scrupulous or proper, what have you, a person may appear to be, we still have to be careful because there are things called facades, superficial, appearances. Things obviously are not always going to be as they seem. And this case, can really epitomize that belief, I would say. And we just don't know. There's people that will be condemned because they may appear unscrupulous, and the exact opposite could happen. And sometimes you have innocent people that are actually hurt as a result. So people need to understand, see, beyond the veil, and and how do you do that? I mean, naturally there are a number of ways you can do that. If you go online, do a search on somebody, you can go to certain sites like mylife.com and get certain information. The problem is, though, you can go online and, if you look, even if you were to do, some kind of extensive criminal background check online, there's times when nothing will come up, and then the person, all of a sudden does some kind of nefarious act, that happens unexpectedly. I don't know if Luigi Mangione actually had a criminal background or not prior to this. If he didn't, I could understand how astounding and surprising this whole thing would be. I think he had at least one friend that was on, some video I saw online, and he was just, bewildered and shocked by the whole thing. And I'm sure that this person had a lot of, friends and family members that shared the sentiments and could not understand or fathom how, somebody that seems so proper and scrupulous, likely committed such a heinous crime, something with such a, violence, and, and it was, unnecessary. In life, we're supposed to be loving each other, not killing each other. But unfortunately, everybody's got a different mindset on that, and it's not right to have that, mindset. I mean, I have people that, to this day, and I'm a believer, so I'm supposed to be forgiving, and, but to this day, I try to hold it back, but I have had certain animosity toward people, that have actually, personally done me wrong. But I still have to, show, self-control and discipline in the process. Life is never, going to be fair. I've had a lot of negativity. There's a lot of drawbacks in my life, that have, persisted for some time, that I've had to endure and deal with, but, going out and shooting somebody, certainly not, not the answer to it. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.